24 minutes gone. 10 points the difference. Swan. Here comes Aziz, crashes through with a magnificent and courageous mark.
There he is. There's the mark.
If Craig Mead showed great courage, that was the equal.
Oh, did your heart flutter then?
Magnificent.
Well, that was brilliant.
Smith plays on to Malin. Steadying kick wide to Peacock. It's not out. Gould inboard to the running McTaggart. That didn't work. Sleverson's under pressure. Smith held without the ball.
Oh, yes, good decision.
It was there.
He ran straight into Malin without the ball.
Rickman out in front. Could just have the edge on his opponent Smith. They both are lumbering after it.
Well, if any man was going to win a game, this is the fellow to do it.
The man on the mark is 53 metres out. Rickman will have to kick it over 60 metres.
Oh, I think he'll get the distance. He'll just pull something big out. Seen him do it before. No, I don't think he's
26 minutes gone. Rickman kicks it back. Fourth it is. That's 4 points the margin.
Well, I'm speechless, Ross. This has been a sensational game.
And I think they'll win it too now. Really alive.
Well, how
Smith's
fitting
in.
it that Rickman should be the man that gives them the chance to win their grand final after 2 consecutive losses. His second crack at VFL football cut short by injury. He's come back and kicked a monster.
And they've won the ball out of the centre on 4 occasions by comparison to Williamstown's 1 in this quarter.
They're running better too, Sam. They look really alive.
Brown wins it. Mendy's sandwiched. Knock from Peacock. Good play to Anderson. Here's Maloney. Oh, Lloyd doing well, but Robinson better. What a mark.
Yes.
Well, the other spearhead now has the chance to win the game, you'd think.
Oh, he's kicking into the breeze.
This just superb use of the body and judgment. And skill, not to mention the one-handed mark.
26 minutes have ticked by. Keith Robinson looking for his 5th. It'll go further away. It's out on the full.
So they'll have possession, Williamstown. Now that's where they need the legs and runners. They've just got to spread the ball quickly.
Kick in by Gould. He's gone wide. Was that a good option? Smith?
Oh, he's lifted Smith.
Grant Smith. Nearly 27 minutes gone. 4 points down are Willie. Jeff's in the way. Mendy.
Oh, great tackle
by Sleverson.
Oh, you.
Sam.
Settle down, Sam.
It was high on Mendy.
Who have you got your money on, Sam?
No one,
Bit
Philip.
excited.
No one at all. I think it's a wonderful game of football.
Mendy steadying kick wide towards Dempster. In front of Howlett. Howlett the fist.
How much time on, Ross?
Couple of more minutes.
Gee, they've kicked a few goals. 2, 4, 6, 7 goals for the quarter.
30 scoring shots to 26. And Springvale lead by 4 points. They're looking to bottle it up.
Thanks, fellas.
Brown, the warhorse, only as far as Atkins. Oh, good bump coming in there from Dudley. Malin looking to waste time. Holding the ball is a good decision. The tackle was initiated before it was out of bounds. Gould's kick, Minot. Has he got some support? Michelli running straight at it. Taking over now. It's Billy Swan. Rickman's clear. 75 metres from goal. He must get around Smith. He's done that. McTaggart's the player he's looking for.
And he can kick a ball too, Peter.
He's got the breeze directly at his back here. Brett McTaggart, a Liston medalist, passes it off to Bill Swan, who's not such a long kick. But in his 7th grand final, he can win the game for his adopted club, Williamstown.
This is unbelievable. I can't believe, really hard to imagine that it's all happened. Springvale seem to have the game won. What a kick. What a kick for Bill Swan. What a hit!
Oh, yeah. predicted this. Have a look at the scenes. And Rickman did very well.
He had to get around Smith and the little chip pass. And McTaggart, aware of the situation, 10 metres closer was Swan. And the best kick of his life is right through the middle. And they're 2 points in front. We've played 29 minutes. Williamstown back from the death. Round again. Malin, it's the captain coaches doing it in the middle. Sleverson chasing Peacock for all he's worth. Dwyer's kick off the ground. This time Williamstown will be hoping it runs out. And Gould takes it out. A fairy tale being written here by Williamstown. 33 points down. The siren to sound any second. And they're 2 points up. Hit the boundary will be the call. Willie fans, and that's almost deliberate.
That's the same thing.
Well, he never took possession, though. We're going to probably have another 30 seconds, I think. They double team round. Anderson knocks on. The experienced players coming in the roar.
And welcome to the Magnet, episode 8. Would you believe 8 episodes? I don't.
It's 7 more than I thought.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you again to Major Tom. Video, live streaming, podcast, editing, marketing via all your social media platforms for business and influencers. Get in touch with the Codge. He can help you out there. Big thank you to BJS Insurance. We'll speak to the man himself. Simple, he's on tonight, about his business. He can tell us a little bit more about that. Cheerios. Happy birthday to Potts. Also, we've renamed tonight's show the Fannet.
The Fannet.
Yeah, the Fannet. We've got the three Fannings here tonight.
That's just genius.
Just
absolutely
genius.
Yeah.
Well, I've already had a question here. It's got here love from Molly. It says here, Simon and Steve Fanning look alike. They're both soft. He said. He said, great ruckman, married into money, turned on his mates, candle, good stories, overrated footballer.
Ooh.
And then Molly said here, Mark Slob Fanning, super coach, most talented Fanning, highly respected individual ever.
How many scotches has Molly put down? He's obviously played down at Settlers Run. Molly's obviously had a game at Settlers Run.
Exactly
One,
right.
and
exactly.
you've been smashing 3 scotches.
I'm not sure what's going on out there, Toddy, but it was a beautiful blue sky day today, so Molly should have put in about a 14-hour day and should have had a drink by now, but obviously we thought, oh, I'll cobble stumps at one and that'll be it. I'll load up.
Well, one's a bit long, I reckon.
I reckon.
Molly did miss something out, though, that I am the better Fanning of the other 3. The other 2, I should say.
Just an overview of tonight's show. Of course, we're catching up the Fannings. We're going to speak to them individually and we're going to get them together to do the Demon Tale together.
Chelsea Heights royalty tonight.
It is indeed.
Actually.
Should have put the crown on the boys.
We should have, but we didn't.
Yeah.
We got enough air for
I actually thought they would have put their own crowns, like gold, silver, and bronze.
Yeah,
it would have been a punch up to see who was going to wear it.
Yeah, we're doing Bisho's bet. Now, we've got something unique tonight the Codge has set up. So I'll give you a pre-warning. Get your paper out, the Herald Sun. That's all it's about. That's all it's worth. Roll it up and get ready to mount the couch because we're gonna replay last week's bet. So I'll tell you to get ready when we've got that footage and you can ride at home.
Stubby's at the ready and ready to
you can ride at home. Yeah, let's get ready for that. We've got our best 22 for week 8. We're doing the Rezzies, B&Fs, and there's a lot of names I don't know, and I can't believe they won B&Fs. It's going to be very funny.
Controversial.
And it will be. Questions from the audience. We're doing Dave's, Dinger's, Barebum's.
I think Barebum's joke of the week.
Barebum's joke of the week this week.
It's a follow-up to
Dinger's one
last week.
There was sort of a bit of a stunned silence when the punchline come along. Dinger's joke.
I actually loved it.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready for
good.
it, but I actually thought it was great. I wasn't ready for it. It was great.
We didn't know where it was going, and then we found out where it was going. It was very funny. Our first guest, we'll get straight into it. We've got the great Simon Fanning. He was one of the Heights greats. Best tap ruckman I've seen anyway down at the Heights and probably playing. Actually, I played a little bit of footy with Joe Regolo is also a great tap ruckman. You remember him. Melbourne under-19s and reserve player, and more importantly, he's a great sponsor of the club and also the community in footy. I'll ask him a question about that a bit later. So thanks for joining us, Simple. I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Firstly, I'll just tell you that we're going to get you together and talk a little bit about your earlier life together as the three of you to have a chat about that. So you're playing at the Heights, your family, and some information about your business. So thank you again for sponsoring tonight's show. But just remember, we only have an hour.
And also nicknames. You've all got a different.
Yeah, different nickname. Yeah.
We'd like to know the absolute truth of where they came from.
That's right. Yeah.
Because Simple. I'm not sure what you can make of that, but you need to let us know how that come about.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us on, boys. It's a pleasure to be here. Obviously, we all grew up together at Chelsea Heights Primary School. Most of us at Chelsea Heights did that back in our day. But 49 years old now. Bit the bullet, shaved the head during COVID because there was no point hanging on anymore. I've got the landing strip at the back there, and it's hereditary. Slob's still holding on to his, but Steve and I, we're struggling a bit. I guess coming down to the footy club, I think I started my career down here as a 7-year-old in the under-12s. So it was all a bit of fun, and I guess what we did as kids at Chelsea Heights Primary School, sorry, Coach, we had the pick the sides at before 9 a.m. Then you'd start the first quarter at recess, play a couple of quarters at lunchtime, and then the afternoon recess you finish the game. So we had a lot of good times down there. From down here we had some pretty good players down here, which was amazing. We had Smitty and Buzz and Toddy. Toddy was good before he had 27 knee operations and all that sort of stuff. But
my career was over before it started. I wasn't a has-been, I never was.
Yeah, exactly. Finished at the Heights in my first stint in '88. Went up to the town, have a couple of years up at Melbourne. Excuse me, but that was a bit of fun. But I guess one of the things that I'm proud of is that Grant, you and I, and I'm not sure whether Codge played in the under-17 one, but we played in the first two ever premierships this club ever won, which was pretty special. Slob will still claim the Lightning premiership that they've got a photo on the wall, but I don't think they count, do they?
I've got one. I think it's here.
We're actually wearing the red and the blue. I think you're wearing a different jumper, weren't you? Tigers, there you go.
Tigers, yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah, exactly. So they were great years. We had a great crew of guys that we played with. Now, grown up, married to my lovely wife, Soph. She's put up with me for 20 years so far, so that's, we're doing all right there. And got three great kids, Bella, Olivia and Sam. Bella's at uni, Olivia's doing year 11 and Sam's in year 8. COVID's been interesting at home. The three of them doing homeschooling or home uni as it is, and life for them's a bit different. Bella's a bit disappointed because she's not, she missed out on O Week and all that fun stuff. I never went to uni, but I guess it would have been a fun time. Thank you. And a bit just the business. I sort of back in 1998, 99. I was working for Gerald Beer. He taught me how to become a plumber, and I worked for Beery as an apprentice and did all that. Came back, and then decided that working in cold weather and all that sort of stuff, maybe there's something better out there for me, and decided to give insurance a crack, and it's sort of panned out at the moment. So things are going okay. Just a family business, and it's been fun. Yeah. That's about it.
Have you got any advice for your kids? And if I was you, is it marry into money? Okay, come on. I brought it up a couple of times, I'm just jealous because I wish I could. But everyone I know, I married into poverty, and Nicole said the same thing. So
you have it in the family. He's called the Prince.
The Prince.
Yeah, the Fresh Prince of Chelsea Heights.
Question for you too, Candle. Before we go on, it's come from Lisa Kelly. Who is the youngest beside you, Candle?
I am the youngest, followed by Simon and Mark being the oldest. Thank you, Lisa. I love you dearly. Happy birthday for the other week as well.
There you go.
So tell us about the skinny raw boy named Freddie. There's another nickname. Arrived at Melbourne. A little about the coaches and the other guys you played with. You played with Paul, is that right?
Yeah, Paul. Well, Paul probably should have been there from a 15-year-old, to be fair. But you know, he sort of tread a different path, I guess, when we grew up. I think Paul finished school after year 9 and then went to the foot gang,
the drainage gang,
and that was it. So yeah, but yeah, I'd sort of been involved in the Melbourne system, well, since under 13s, I guess, doing squads and all that sort of stuff. Played schoolboy footy for Centrals. Had to play with a lot of guys from EDS and other clubs around, but yeah, got sort of being involved there. Tail end of '88, I think we were doing all right in the under-17s, playing in the seniors and the 17s on a Sunday. So they wanted me to play a few tail end games towards the end of the season. Spoke to the coach. He wasn't too keen on it. He thought I was probably better placed to, you know, maybe play in the under-17 finals and give us a crack at that. So that got knocked on the head, and 89 and 90, spent some time there, you know, had a great time, made some really great friends, but played with a lot of good blokes from down this way, Hoppy, Lee Capsalis, Troy Shannon, you know, just there are a couple of blokes that are local, but, you know, had a great time down there and it was good fun. Yeah.
Who was the coach at that stage?
The coach was Mark Cross and Bobby Kerr. So Bobby was actually coach of, well, they're East Malvern now, but I think they were just... I think they were Malvern or something else back in those days when he was coach. But yeah, they were our two coaches, and God bless Crossy, he's left us, but Bobby's still around, and we catch up at past players do every now and then at Melbourne.
So you weren't the let's just say you weren't the best trainer on the track. So what did you take out of that experience? How did you find it, like training at Melbourne? How hard it would have been compared to what you could get away with here?
Oh, training.
Besides everything here.
No, training was interesting. I remember when I first started, I used to meet Hoppy at Caulfield Station. You know, Beery would drop me off at Caulfield, then we'd get the tram down to the Junction Oval, and, you know, Hoppy would say, oh, geez, I'm hungry. So we'd have probably 4 or 5 dim sims from the quarter takeaway store and get there, and so that was a bit of fun. But yeah, I mean, training, you know, pre-season, you know, you'd get there, look at a couple of the tall blokes and say, well, I reckon he's competition, and then just try and beat them on the time trials, and then, you know, when you get into the real stuff, playing practice matches and all that sort of stuff, just give it your best and have a crack and see what happens from there.
Yeah. How did you find it's a team sport, but it's very individual when you're gunning for your own sides. How did that work out?
It's interesting. You sort of you can pick the blokes who can play and who can't play, so you sort of gravitate towards them, and you know the guys that are sort of, you know, you had squads of 70 blokes trying out for probably 40 spots. So you had your best side, and then there was the second side. So you're all trained during the week, and then there's 20 guys that are disappointed every Thursday night when they're not getting picked, so they'll come back to their local club and play. But they were the key to what we did in the 2 years I was there. It was, you know, they were great guys, and you just got to try and make sure you give it your best, and if your best is good enough, you'll get through, and if it's not, well, say la vie.
That's it. There's only X amount of spots, isn't there? So.
Yeah. There's actually a Trivia Pursuit question. There's a card, and it says, can you name 2 players that wore number 56 at Melbourne? Do you know what they are?
It's a very cherished number down at the Melbourne Footy Club. A lot of good players have worn it. Paul Smith, he's worn number 56. He could go. I mean, you know, Smitty as a mate and as a footballer, the only bloke I've known, you know, we used to worship Smitty. You know, we used to go and watch him play every Saturday in the under-19s, and you know, the guy was an All-Australian Teal Cupper. Didn't quite make it to the top level, but you know, he should have. But just didn't. And I think the other one was me.
It was indeed. Sorry, it was really rude of us not to mention our pre-show footage that we had of Smitty, and we had a little bit of a banter on Facebook. How was that, Mark? He's just backing back into the fight of the ball in a grand final, gets KO'd, playing on, it was Rickman, it was just a great full forward, he was a huge man, wasn't he?
And all I'm going to say is 4 words: no sense, no feeling.
Yeah, that's amazing. So much courage if you listen to Smitty. Fantastic. Really
you wouldn't have known it now, would you?
No.
You wouldn't know he's got a few nice little head after the ears.
No way.
Sharp as a tack.
He is indeed. So I believe later in life, Fan, you ended up playing footy in Sydney. I remember speaking to you about it. So was that move a result from work, or can you tell us a little bit more about that and the competition? Like what was the standard like? And I believe you once told me that one day, I remember you saying that you'd roll up for a game on a Saturday, and because it rained the night before, the game's just called off and everyone just went to the pub. Is that true?
Yeah, look, the move to Sydney, I'd just finished my apprenticeship with Beery at that stage, and I'd recently fallen in love, I guess, Grant, you would say. It was the first time I probably had a serious girlfriend, and at the time she got a transfer up to Sydney for work, and we sort of discussed it, and I just said, well, you know, a change is as good as a holiday, so we up and left and moved up to Sydney. Played at it was probably the most enjoyable 2 years I've ever had playing footy. No pressure of playing for money or anything like that. Just went up there and just wanted to have a good time, and it was good fun. You know, we the first year, which was '93, won a premiership playing in the twos there, which to be fair, playing in the twos wasn't great, but I actually enjoyed the time I played there because you know, the coach of the seniors and I had a bit of different philosophies on football and all that sort of stuff. So
being a Melbourne boy, we know all.
Yeah, we agreed to disagree, and then the following year, in '94, had probably the fittest I'd ever been. Like I was never that fit when I was at Melbourne Footy Club, and I just thought, well, I might as well have a run at it and see how we go. So I did a lot of training, and we lost the grand final to Campbelltown that year by 5 points. I'm not sure whether you remember a guy called Terry Thripp,
Terry
Sydney Swans.
Yeah, do indeed.
Ripping bloke. Well, everyone knows what Smitty's endowed like, and Thrippy had him well covered. So, but a guy who plays VFL, AFL footy, you would think he'd learn to kick over the man on the mark with a couple of minutes, about a minute to go in a grand final. He's taken a mark on the wing. He was our centre-half forward, kicked it into the man on the mark, turnover, goes down the other end. We're a point up at this stage. They kick a goal, centre bounce, you know, bit scrappy. We lose by 5 points.
Oh,
so it was devastating, but the standard was great. There was some bloody good footballers. You know, Jimmy West. Our captain was Mark Eustace, ex-Swan, Richmond Bombers. Wall was a terrific captain. Like just gutsy and just put it in and did really well. But a lot of expats up there and a lot of good football players. Some would get paid, but I loved it. Sydney was great fun. Yeah, it was a really good time in my life for playing football. Anyway.
Yeah, good.
That's brilliant. So you got a young bloke having a kick?
Yeah, young Sam. Yeah, he's a chip off the old block, mate. He's not afraid to give a bit of feedback.
Well, that's genetics. That's fine. And you guys have got you sponsor a lot of local footy and also Sandy. Is that right? So you do
Sandy Zebras. Yeah.
Yeah. So you put a lot back in and basically the community.
We try as a business. Yeah. Look, we've been involved with the Eastern Footy League for even before my time, but. Probably 25, 26 years now, and you know, they're going through a tough time at the moment with what's going on with COVID. So they've made a pretty gutsy call. I mean, they're probably the biggest competition. Well, the VAFA and the EFL are the two biggest comps that we're associated with. But yeah, I think one of the things is that, you know, we don't do it to. It's more, you know, if you're not involved in the community, you can't help them. So. That's what we try and do. You know, our company's logo is BJS. It used to stand for my sister-in-law's initials back in the day, but we call it Beyond Just Service, and we like to think that we give back as much as we take at the same time, and we think that's the main thing.
Look,
that we should do.
Everyone needs support. You know, it means a really lot to. So you're a young bloke. How's he go? Has he got a bit of talent in him? He's had the lip.
Look, he's only 13, Toddy. He doesn't turn 14 till late September, but he's 6'1". He's got a good leap on him. He's a left footer. He's probably the only you know, he can kick the ball 50 metres at the moment. So he's got some talent. There's no doubt he's got talent. You know, a bit like Dinger's young bloke.
Yeah.
You know, he's got talent. You know, I was listening a couple of weeks ago when Dinger was on. You got talent, but you got to have the will and the drive to get there. And I guess for me, you know, like Grant said, I wasn't the greatest trainer and all that sort of stuff, and didn't dedicate myself because you know, down here it came easy, but when you come up against the rest, you got to work harder than the rest to succeed. So
do you tell him that all? Did you tell him your past experience of saying basically you've got to put more into it? And that's, you know, it's like I said, talent so much, but it's harder these days. So you really need to. Do you give him any advice that way, or let him find his own way?
Yeah, look, I try and point him to other people. So he's got, where he goes to school at Brighton Grammar, he's lucky. He goes to a pretty good school, and he's
Hang
got
on, did you say Brighton Grammar?
Yeah, he goes to Brighton Grammar. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Sargent's went to Brighton Grammar.
I thought he said Church Primary School.
Yeah.
Something wrong with these microphones. Hang on.
Keep going, mate.
Yeah, but you know, he's fortunate enough to go to a school like that, and he's got a great. The head of Year 7, who Tim Marshall, is a really good influence for Sam, and I try and push Sam towards Tim, and Tim's coached a lot of kids on the way through, and he's been really good for him, even though he's only in Year 8. But I try, you know, I was his coach at footy last year, and it's hard being a dad and a coach at the same time. So you're always a bit more critical on your own.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just one of those things. You know, he's got 2 uncles over there that weren't bad at playing footy as well, but you know, they never get off the couch on a Sunday, so it's hard for him to come down and watch him play. But if he makes finals, they're always there, which is good. So, but yeah, you know, I try not to. I give him advice, but as a 13-year-old, you know, it's like, what do you know, dickhead?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the way it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's really good. And all the best on his journey.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, keep us in touch with that as well. So, also as mentioned, as I mentioned in the start of our chat, you're a great tap ruckman. Did you teach yourself? Did someone take you under their wing, or were these 2 blokes teach you, or what?
Well,
did you take their advice?
Yeah, I guess one of those things in the ruck, you know, I was tall all the way through as a young bloke, so that's the only position I ever knew. But you know, you come down and, you know, you come here and you'd be in the old scoreboard and you'd be watching all the old guys out there, you know, you know, JD and all those guys who were all in those teams of the decades and all that sort of stuff. You just watch. You know, I guess kids today probably don't watch the game as intently as what we probably would have as young blokes. So you just watch and learn, and you know, even though Kenny Hunter was my idol, Mike Fitzpatrick was still a gun ruckman at Carlton. So yeah, you just watch and learn, and you know, hopefully it sinks in. But
and you probably didn't know this, but Dinger said on the show the other night, he actually learnt so much off you. So by just watching you in the ruck, he learned a lot as well. So using his body, etc., because he wasn't tall, but he said by watching you, he learned a lot. So.
Yeah, I think one of those things, like against, you know, primary school as a grade 4 playing against the grade 6s like you and Smitty and Buzz and all those guys, you know, you just had to compete just so they'd let you play. Yeah. So, you know, having those lessons as a young kid, you know, you're not allowed to play with it. You know, the grade 4s can't play with the grade 6s these days. So they miss a little bit. Yeah. And that's a shame, but that's just the way it is. It's
a tough learning curve, but that's the way you grew up, wasn't it? You had to prove yourself against the bigger guys, and if you wanted to get a game, you wanted to be picked, you had to try and do a bit harder, and that was it. So, old school. Yeah,
so it's a tough audience tonight. There's a question here. So why did you leave in 1996?
Money. Feel free to tell the truth and lag anyone in if you want, allegedly, as we say.
Well, I didn't leave in 96. I played 96 when Jimmy was coach, 97 Brick Mutes was coach. So
that's it.
Then 98 I went to Seaford. That's when I first started my journey in insurance. So one of the guys there, Damien Hibbert, was coach at Seaford and invited me along to come down and have a look. So played in another grand final there. We lost. Got beaten by Hampton Park that time. So, but yeah, 99 came back. Smitty was coach, and I think the week before things went pear-shaped here at the Heights. We were playing Morty Alec, and I got sent off the ground for blowing with the umpire, as you could imagine, Toddy. I had a couple of opinions on the way he was going on that day, and got sent off for 15 minutes.
Not a fan of umpires, trust me. I don't like them either.
Yeah, so the following week we were playing out here, and a former club president was the runner, and he was the president of the day at the same time.
Is he missing toes?
He could be known as a three-toed sloth.
Three-toed sloth.
Yes, but...
I've got no idea. Anyway.
Yeah, if you know who that is, please get on Facebook and fire a couple more questions. But, I got pushed into the fence and I just sort of gave the umpy a bit of a burst and said, you can't be serious. Where's the bloody free kick? And then the runner of the time came out and just said, shut your effing mouth and shut your... And then I just said, F off you, F big. And I remember, Juddy Foote came up to me and he goes, oh, geez, you're a bit harsh there, big fella. And I went, oh, Juddy, we're just here to play footy, mate. We'll get on with it. And then because I was a bit angry and ended up having a pretty good day, but, we got off the ground and, club president came up to me and, we had a bit of an altercation out the front, verbal, not a physical, but a verbal. And we decided we should part
ways?
Yeah, ways. When we say we decided we part, I actually didn't want to leave. He just said, get the F out, I don't want you here.
But Badger Greeley's put on here, he was sacked. Is that pretty... pretty much sum it up?
Pretty much you could say sacked. Yeah, that was fair enough. And I guess that was it. And a couple of people just said, why don't you go and play for Hampton and stick it up him? I said, well, I play for Chelsea Heights, so I'm not going to play. I would never play footy against my own club. Yeah. That's just the way it is. So, we were two strong opinion and willed people. So that's just the way it went. So, that's where the cards fell. But if it wasn't for that guy, I probably wouldn't be in the position I am today because he took me to Brighton Cricket Club with Cozzy in the brow. So if we didn't go down there as 16, 17-year-olds, I probably would never have met my wife. So, I have to take my hat off to Neil and thank him for that.
And just, were you probably would have been angry at the time, and as you get older, you look back and you put everything in perspective. Like you said, it's obviously worked out for you, but angry at the time, do you still harbour any anger or
oh, shit, no, Toddy, no. Like, it was one of those things. It happened, and, you let it go. He came to my engagement, didn't come to the wedding. So that was a square up. Like, it's one of those things. Neil is still a great person and a great friend. Like I don't have any ill will against him whatsoever. Like, he made a call, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. I just think he was setting an example as the president of the footy club, as he should. I was 28, probably should have known better. And that's fair enough. But I have an opinion on how that should have gone. You can't be a club president and a runner. So that was my opinion. But he was both. So that's just the way it went. And say la vie. And I still love Chelsea Heights Footy Club. I do.
Wonderful, that's great.
Yeah, and you made another good point there. You're actually a very, very good cricketer as well, and that would have been fantastic times with Brow and Cozzy.
I remember the journeys with Ray Spencer in the back of his panel van. That was all right. And then when Brow turned 18 and, we had some bloody good times. And, I won't mention anything what Cozzy, we did after we left Jake's in Church Street. And,
the sawdust in the pants when you wake up.
We had some bloody good times, I tell you. Yeah. But, I'm heavily involved at Brighton Cricket Club as well. That's where Sam plays his cricket. And, I coach the under-14s as well. So, it's, as I said to you, if it wasn't for Neil, I wouldn't be where I am today, I guess, in life.
It's funny how it works out in life.
It is. Yeah,
quite hilarious.
So thanks for your time. We're going to get you back in a minute to talk about your earlier life with the other two boys. So we'll get Steve in the seat. We'll swap seats now. I'll ask Steve some questions. So our next guest.
You get the oxygen machine.
Saving the best man ever last.
We've got our second guest, Steve Fanning. So he is rated by most people the greatest player that ever played at the Heights. He was captain coach, best and fairest for the league. He can probably tell us a little bit more what he did at Mount Eliza. I don't have much written down about that, but he can tell us about it. I know he captain coach. Hey?
Got them
relegated. That's pretty good.
You've done well.
Thanks for joining us, Candle. As I said to Simon, we'll chat to you guys about your earlier life in a minute. So playing at the Heights, tell us a bit about that, your family, and what you do for a crust now. You were in transport, I think.
Yeah, I was in, so I'm 55.
Yep.
I've got 3 kids. Ben 30, Georgia 28 and Sophie 25. The 2 girls live over in London.
Yep.
So I've got a couple of trips over there. Married to the lovely wife Deb for it's either 31 or 32.
How did you do that? How have you done that?
Patient?
How did you do that?
We call it patient?
I've been very patient.
I know, it's...
No, it's a wonderful lady. So we've been together about 35, 36 years now, and she's put up with a hell of a lot. But I started in the transport industry for about 33, 34 years ago.
Yep.
Bullshitted my way into a job into sales for 12 months, and then Humphrey was the great
Humphrey Blake, Simon's Transport.
Humphrey was also in transport and said, "Look, where are you working?" And I said, "I'm working over at a place called AEI in Thomastown." He said, "Shit, from Chelsea Heights." I said, "Yeah, Chelsea Heights to Thomastown.
Yeah.
It's a long, long way." He said, "Look, do it for 10 or 12 months, get a bit of experience up your thing." And he said, "And then I'll try and get you a gig at Simon's Transport." So I did that for 12 months, and Hump sent me a couple of very, very good leads and picked up a couple of very, very big accounts for this particular company.
Beautiful.
That shot me to stardom, and then went over to work under the Hump for three and a half years at Simon's, and then went and joined TNT after that, and then started my corporate career there, and basically stayed in corporate for nearly 30 years. A lot of travel. But I was travelling every week interstate and on business and overseas in New Zealand a lot, and then sort of hit 50, had a moment.
Not a stroke, just a moment. All right, clear that up. Well, because I'm waiting for mine.
Well, Strop's got me on top of the list of divers there, everybody anyway. But yeah, so I was spending a lot of time up in Queensland between Brisbane and Mackay every week, and I did that for about 11 months, and I thought, no, I had enough, come back, resigned, thought I'd have a bit of a rest and get back into corporate life again 6 to 12 months later, and then I had a lot of mates who I've met throughout my career who own transport companies and defaulted into starting my own consulting business.
Beautiful.
And advising business in transport and manufacturing, and so, focus on financial turnarounds, restructuring, business strategy plans, profit improvement plans, tendering, and
Yep.
So
give it a plug. So what's the name of the
business? It's called E-Logical Consulting.
E-Logical, yep.
Fantastic.
Beautifully insured by BJS, by the way.
Insured by BJS.
Perfect.
Yeah, so
Cheap?
Better
rates, mates rates?
Very, very, very
Brutal?
competitive rates, actually, so I'm told.
Yep.
But yeah, so once I started it up, and I was earning a little bit of money on the side, and I thought, shit, I'm earning a little bit too much, so I had to register it. And I called it E-Logical because I thought it was illogical I'd actually become a consultant. And but yeah, been going for 5 years now, and COVID slowed it down a little bit, but all things will be good.
And tell us a little bit about at the Heights. So,
yeah, well, we were originally Brighton boys.
Yeah.
So Mum and Dad, well, I think I was 2 or 3 when they moved down to when Chelsea Heights first started as an estate.
Yeah.
They built a house and land package,
Yeah.
and that's how we ended up in the Heights. And
so you're down here for juniors, weren't you? Yeah.
yeah, in the juniors we used to play over in the old tennis courts,
Yeah.
the old pumpkin jumpers.
Yeah.
But no, Dad was, we're a Catholic family.
Yeah.
Dad was Abbotsford, and on the corner of I think Victoria Street and Punt Road, Dad was an altar boy there, and all the like, and we used to have to go to St Joey's.
We
just had a picture there of yourself, and that's actually Ricky Hart.
Ricky Hart, and that's I think is that Carl Rash? I think it's Carl Rash.
Yeah, that's Ricky Hart, definitely.
So best and fairest. What year would that have been?
Whoa.
At 1932.
I think it was,
It's black and white.
I think it was that was the under 15. I was under 15.
Under 15, there you
There's
go.
no way you're the youngest Fanning at all.
And the great Mark Green, who ex-St Kilda.
Oh, yeah.
He
Greenie.
was coaching us back then.
He was too.
Greenie, we were actually nicknamed the
Green Machine.
Green Machine.
True. That's
Made
true.
the grand final and got knocked off.
Yeah. And were you like most of us, so you're thrust into senior footy pretty young?
I played I get going back. So the reason I started playing football is that we had to go to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
And we got enrolled in Sunday school.
So when was footy played?
Well, footy wasn't being played. So then I thought, at the age of, I think I was about 7, 8 or something like that, and then the footy club had started up. So I thought, football, Sunday morning, get out of church, get out of Sunday school. What an alternative. So that's sort of how it all began.
Yeah.
And, I played all the juniors here up until the under-15s. And then went off to Melbourne for a little stint and had a bit of a fallout with Ray Jordan when he joined the club.
There's a theme going on here with fallout with authority, isn't there? I'm just
philosophy.
No, but Mum was very good. It's a very funny story actually. So it was Irish, myself, and Anthony Forber.
Yeah.
We got picked to represent the schoolboys down on the peninsula, and Dermy was in the
squad.
was playing. We were playing in the Hawthorn, representing what I call this the southeastern area. So we played the schoolboy carnival and so forth, and then the three of us get an invite up to Melbourne. So we all jump on the train together, go to the G, put the jumpers on, run out. And Irish has had the biggest day out in history. He's kicked 6. I think I've had, no joke, 6 touches. Forbes has gone pretty well.
Yeah.
But I've just played like very, very poorly. So we get back on the train and we're going, Irish, you're a Monty. They're going to pick you up.
Yeah.
And he's gone, of course they are. I've kicked fucking 6 goals. What else? And I said, Forbes, you'll be close. I said, I've got no fucking hope.
Yeah.
So about 2 weeks later, we get this bloody letter in the mail, each of us. And then we all hook up. I go, did you get your letter? I said, yeah. I said, Irish, how'd you go? You would have got in? Oh, fucking arsehole. Kick fucking thick, couldn't even get a Guernsey. Said to Forbes, how'd you go? He said, yeah, no, good. And they said, what about you? So I got fucking accepted. I had 6 kicks on the day. So the boys
only because we had Bluey Adams was a good friend of the family.
Well, Bluey was chairman of select. So I went up and had a little stint there and then came back and then had my first game with the Chelsea Heights under Oaksy at 15.
Jesus, yeah. Wow.
And playing out of Berwick and was played on a hero of mine. I was the only...
Who was that? Frosty Miller?
Frosty Miller.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, wow.
So nervous out of Berwick, and Moose said to me, don't worry, young fella. If anything happens, we'll look after you. And, as you get older, you work out what Moose is like. And him and Frosty had a few biffs along the way in their careers. And he said, look, if you get the chance and you're on the ground, whack him in the knee. So I'm going all right as a young fella. And just punching the ball away. And I was playing at full back, which is a position I'd never played before. And punch. And I was down on the ground and Frosty stood on my hands. And I got a free kick. And all I could think of Moose in the background saying, punch him in the knee, and Frosty being a left footer, I whacked him in his knee, and his knee started to wobble.
Yeah.
And he's picked me up by the throat. And I was about 70 kilos. When he's lifted me off the ground, he starts shaking me, going, I'm killing you. And I'm looking around thinking, who's coming in? So I think we got done that day, and I walk off, and then I looked at Moose in the change rooms and I said, well, what happened? He says, welcome to senior football, young fella.
So we'll touch on a bit of your career later on, but you end up going to Footscray?
Yeah,
and they set you up with, I think it was Just Jeans? They set
no,
well,
we had
job somewhere?
West Coast Jeans.
Oh, West Coast Jeans. There's a name we haven't seen for a while.
In those days. And I was on the draining when I
And
was
the
at
foot
Footscray,
gang?
I was on the foot gang out at, we're working out at Baronia, so it's sort of -2 to 2 degrees every day, pissing rain. And
So just to go back there, how'd you get to Footscray? It wasn't a draft or anything back then,
it
was
wasn't
it?
a draft, so Melbourne gave away two players, I think. Well, Footscray gave away two selections. It wasn't draft, but it was like 2 people for me over there. And what happened is that I went up to Melbourne a couple of years in a row and started the pre-season.
Yeah.
And every time I'd see Slug, I'd just look at him and go, he's a piece of shit. Piece of shit of a bloke, in my opinion. I won't go into the history of what we went through. But I'd enjoyed it under Ian Thorogood. He was fantastic when I was first at Melbourne. And so I went back 2 years in a row and just didn't enjoy it. Came back here and played Doveton in the second round.
Yeah.
And I had a ripping game on that day, and we're in having a beer. I think it was 18 at the time. And Doug Henwood, the famous Henwood clan with Doveton, Doug played at Footscray and was involved with the Footscray club, came up to me and we're having a beer, and he said, "What the hell are you doing, mate?"
Yeah.
So Dougie said, "Look, I'm going to ring Bluey Hampshire, mate. We'll try and get you over to Footscray." So Doug got hold of Bluey, and then Bluey rang me up, had a couple of chats, and away it went. So
So how long did you stay at Footscray? What was the...
about a year and a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What was it like? What didn't you like about it?
We were pretty shit house.
Yeah.
And but look, it was hard because I was a drainer.
Yeah.
And we were doing a big job out in Baronia.
Then you got to go training there.
So you're in a trench, jackhammer, wheel and barrows, screenings and the like.
Screenings.
The deal was I would get a cab to training and home every night.
Yeah.
So 3 o'clock, between 3, 3:15 every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, the cab would turn up to the...
How was the boss with that? Was he cool with that?
Footy was fantastic. Gary was very, very supportive. He was president of Chelsea Heights Football Club at the time, and he liked it because the Heights were getting a rebate. So for every game I played, they got a cheque.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So Footy reckoned it was better off me getting the arse out of Chelsea Heights. And that's how it actually worked. They didn't have to pay me, and they were getting a cheque. So that was quite funny. So so I always remember rolling up one day, and I was going to the depot, the taxi driver. I had the same taxi driver.
Yeah.
And he would bring a sheet of plastic to put on the seats. Because I'd be covered in mud and shit. I'd be saturated. So I would sleep all the way from Baronia to Footscray. And I always remember walking in this day and I'm at my locker. I'm taking shit off. I've got my hair. I did have hair back in those days. I got was clay through it. And I've got all over my face. And Simon Beasley walks in. Yeah. And he's in his pinstripe suit, his beautiful bros, his tie, and he just looks at me. He said, "Freddie, you've got a shit fucking job. You need to get out of it. We need to talk to the sponsors and try and get you into West Coast Jeans." I had retail experience in the store for a couple of years working for my cousin's father-in-law, and that never eventuated. So I was a deranged trainer playing at Footscray.
What was the end there? How did you get that call about you're not playing there anymore?
I did prove Mick Moldhouse ended up getting appointed. That was his first job in dying.
COVID.
Ring an ambulance. So
it.
Mick Moldhouse come over. That was his first coaching gig. So did the pre-season and
got a phone call or something?
No, come and meet Mick in the office.
You can't.
And, it's they don't come Monday.
Yeah,
so
wow.
That was fine. So pretty pissed off. Come home, got in the cab, come home, went for about a bloody 6-8k run. Because I was angry, I ran up right up here through the Bomb Beach.
Yeah.
And the like, and that was life. And then I from there went to end up going to Morty Alec because Jeff Rosenhow was coaching here.
The Ros.
Yeah.
So he was coaching at Morty, and Dutchy was up at Morty, and so I went and joined Morty Alec.
Yeah. So you basically saying it really hurt getting cut from Footscray. You really wanted to play.
Like sacked from a job.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
It's a lot of training. It's lot harder these days, but we used to train Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, play Saturday, and train 9 o'clock every Sunday morning for recovery.
Yeah.
And I was pretty fortunate. I became good friends with the McPherson's brothers from Tassie.
Oh, yeah.
Steve and Rod, and Footscray gave them a unit in Essendon as part of the law when they came over, so I used to stay there Saturday nights and
have a few qualities.
Oh, just ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. Places we went, they said, we'll go to a nightclub. I say, well, where's the nightclub? They say, Nurses' Quarters, Western General Hospital. I go, oh, you're kidding. No. So, I had many adventures and become good friends with Dougie Hawkins. And it was a fantastic time. But we were a shit team, but I always remember, we're having a big trip away to Vanuatu at the end of the year and worked out that we couldn't raise enough funds for, 38 or 40 of us to go. So West Coast said, we're 20, 25 grand short. And they said, if you win the last 3 games, we'll spot the diff. What you're short. Yeah. So we won 2 of the 3, and we're coming up against Carlton in the last game, and they're second on the ladder. Yeah. And we're thinking, no hope. And we've actually got up and won. Yeah. And it would have been probably one of the funniest and best football trips away I've ever been on in my life. Yeah. And,
good times.
Essendon had been there to the resort that we'd been there the week before and destroyed it. They just repaired it and we just copped it again. So it was like the poor bugger's got a tsunami.
So I want to ask you a question about the Heights. So you came back to the Heights. You were captain coach. How old were you then?
So I went from Morty Alec. I went down to... So Morty was going... So I joined Morty Alec, signed a contract. Yep. Played probably only about 10 or 11 games there, and I did my knee. Yep. And then in that process, when I'd done my knee, they decided that they weren't going to pay anybody. So they offered everybody clearances to clubs. So I just stood out the rest of the year. Mm. And a couple of the blokes went down to Carrum. So I went down to Carrum, played 3 years there. And then Puppet started annoying me. As Puppet does. So I was 24.
Oh, yeah? Yep.
No, 23.
Yep.
I was when I got appointed, took a pay cut from what I was actually getting at Carrum.
No way. Down the Heights, no way.
It was actually a reduction. No, but the Heights were, we'll talk about it a bit later as when you get to the family stuff. So the Heights hadn't won a game for 3 years, hadn't won a practice match for 3 years. Yep. And I said to Ferd, you're kidding, aren't you? And he said, come on, we're buggered as a footy club. So we came to an agreement on funds. He wasn't president, but he was the leader trying to get me back. Then the likes of Bisho, and so I rang the likes of Bisho and all these blokes and Blueies, Kaiser. So they all,
come back.
They all come back, and we won our first game in the Keysborough night competition, and the old Heights blokes, they thought it was like a grand final.
Absolutely.
So we went on to win, I think it was 4 or 5 games the first year. Second year we won about 8. And then I think the last year we won about 10 games. So we were playing Devon Meadows in the last game of the year. So if we had won that, we would have made finals, but unfortunately got done out there. And
And you were only 23, so it's massive. I think when I was 23 and trying to lead a whole club, coaching, and you had no coaching experience whatsoever. So you walked into a club, had never coached before, and you're 23, and all the guys that would have been around you would have been the same age. How did you handle that? And also tell us a little bit about Humphrey. He was
so when I come back, so Hump was chairman of selectors, and so he was fantastic, old head, and Hump was what I'm told is it was a very, very handy footballer in his younger days himself, and was around the Heights for a lot of years.
He's a great cricketer, I've heard as well. Very good cricketer.
So Hump was a good help. Good guidance, and it comes down to management of men, really. knowing some of the larrikins that I was coaching, and especially this younger crew that were coming through, that were in their 18s, 19s years of age. So, no, it was interesting. So I remember it. So I went off and did an AFL coaching free course the first year before, which let me design pre-season. You're supposed to do everything correctly and the like, so that was really good. And then it was just about managing young people.
The Darren Meathers, the Jimmy Matthews.
Mate, I don't care what anyone says. I don't give a shit about Mick Moldhouse or Ray Jordan. If you had to coach Chelsea Heights, that is the hardest thing you have to do in your life. I'm telling you, mate.
So I always remember one of the first talks, and I said, look, you blokes, I know all the drinking hordes. I used to do it.
Yeah.
So I made a compromise at the start. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'd rather you come down Friday nights after work and have a beer at the Heights. Put a bit of money over the bar, but at 7 o'clock,
go home.
Lights are out, go home. Knowing full well they'd either nick up to the Chelsea pub, eat a fal RSL. And so I used to drive to the pub, then I'd go around to the RSL, knowing full well where the boys had gone to. And but there was a very funny story, and I got this knock on the door one night, and I think the mate, he's just declared that he was in the background, and we're playing a home game, and it's 1:30 in the morning. He's bang on the front door, and get up my jocks, walk to the front door, and he's Jimmy, pissed out of his head at 1:30 in the morning. And he says, I said, what the fuck do you want? It's 1:30 in the morning, Jimmy, and you're pissed off your head. Is Simon home? I said, of course he fucking is. He's playing football tomorrow. Fuck off.
I think that there were the rules. Jimmy and I went to EDS, RSL, and Cantor was there looking after us or looking out for us or whatever it was. And then he went, I don't know what happened then when those couple of hours they ended up getting blocked, and he's gone back because I think Carp were playing that night, or there was a footy game on. So Jimmy's walking around at 1:30 in the morning with blinds. I'm not playing, and we'll go around and Cantor's watching the footy. At 1:30 in the morning, we knock on the door, and Cantor's going, "What are you doing? What are you doing, man?" Did he play that game? Did he?
I think he did. I think I dropped him for the... Yeah, I actually did need him to play that game. It's just unfortunate because I really didn't want to, but I had to. I think I dropped him the following week, but then put him back into the one. So.
That's good. So you wouldn't catch Coach Manalaisa?
Yeah, so I coached
after that?
here.
Yeah.
Played, I reckon, 1 or 2 games with the Heights the following year, when Ken Hickey come to coach it. Felt it was really awkward, sort of, coach of last year, new coach coming in, because I said I didn't want to coach anymore. Because my career was starting to take off a little bit at TNT, and...
Was that a personality clash, or was this...
Ken Higg's a cracking bloke.
Yeah.
Cracking bloke. No, so... and Oakley Districts have been trying to get me over to play, and I was branch manager of a satellite depot for TNT out in Westall Road, Clayton, so Oakley Districts was 10 minutes around the corner on the Princess Highway. So I went down there for a year, played a year there, and from there we made it into a grand final. Unfortunately got beaten. And then went down to one of the blokes I knew quite well, Brendan Rooney, who was the league best and fairest in the Mornington Peninsula League. He was playing there, and so I went to Mount Eliza. So I went down there for 3 years.
Right, did you coach there?
Yeah, coached the last year. So what happened, at a point, I never wanted to coach because I didn't have the time. And by the time I got to Mount Eliza, I got promoted a couple of times, and I was doing a lot of interstate travel. And they appointed a coach. Then in about January, the bloke got he was a school teacher, and he got transferred. So in February, the club couldn't find a coach and said, well, you've coached before. Can you coach? I said, well, I can only train Thursday. So we had one of the players was a good fella, Richard Grimman, great player from Wodonga. So he was the assistant coach, so he used to take training, and then, so it was a pretty shitty last year. And
Yeah. And you said you did something special there, is that right? You got them relegated, is that what you told me?
that last year. So we got relegated that year, and they had quite a few seasons in the NFL, and Paul Hopgood actually went down to coach him and then got him back up again.
Yeah, right.
Who's got something to thank you for? He owes you.
Hoppy, yeah. So, the boys, every time I go down to Mount Eliza.
Do they remind you of the...
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So just, I guess the last question, the highlights and lowlights of an incredible career at the highest level as both a coach and player.
Oh, look, highlights is probably all the people you meet.
Yeah.
And associations you meet with I've played 3 or 4 clubs and met a lot of terrific people along the way, still talk to a lot, and it's amazing, Probably late last year ran into Paul Hack, who used to play down.
Haggy, yeah.
Who went over and lived in Pattaya and having a beer at the Sandy Pub, and I'm thinking, geez, I know that bloke. And it was Hackey's returned, and that was winning the medal at 18 years of age in the Southwest Skippy was quite a highlight. In my first, Morty Alec, I represented the VFA over in South Australia in the States side, so that was pretty good. Low lights. Not winning, I've never won a senior grand final. So
and that's a funny thing. I've met a lot of people, and over the conversations of the last 7 or 8 weeks, we've been lucky enough to have a lot of really good people, Chelsea Heights people, who've done other things in footy, played other plays. A lot of them haven't won that ultimate premiership. I remember talking to Scott Crowe once, who played here, and he played Hawthorn and Collingwood, and that's the only thing he's dirty on.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate thing you want to do.
Yeah.
I never got a chance. And there's a million people out there who won't get a chance. So, and that's the ultimate, isn't it? That's what you play for.
I played golf with a fellow, and he's won 6.
Yeah, fucking prick. You beat him?
With Pines and Frankston, he beats him at golf too.
What an arsehole. They mentioned his name, I'll shit can him. Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? That's you play. It's just when you look back and you get old and you're arthritic and you've got bung knees and stuff like that. You play with your. It's about winning that ultimate thing. It's something you can hold high.
Football's always about winning the grand final.
Yeah.
Coaching's about you go back to the coaching thing, and I mean I think that's why I became quite successful as business.
Yeah, right. That's right.
I refer everything back to football, playing as a team,
sacrifices,
having a game plan. Yeah. Any weak links brings the business down. Football and running
it works
in
life.
It does.
It's life.
It's a life experience.
Yeah.
And, and thank the Heights for
for giving that opportunity. Well, thanks for joining us.
We'll get you on after.
We'll get Simon back in the chair because we're going to ring Bisho. Simon, simple.
And so
put the headphones on. We're going to ring Bisho. We're going to. I said before to get your Herald Sun out, roll it up, and jump on the couch.
We'll get your wooden spoon out.
Get your wooden spoon out because we're about to play a bit of footage.
Just want to say the slob.
Yep.
There's no pressure. You got nothing. You got nothing to worry about with these two folks.
Put the headphones on. Simple. We're going to give Bisho a call. We're going to see his best bet.
Make sure you mention the 100 Asia.
The 100 Asia.
Galway by 3 lengths from Ella Devine. Over on the inside, there is Best of Days. Military Zone down the outside. Gets stuck in the next one. Nicanova's still got 6 lengths to make up. Galway about 3 lengths in front from Military Zone. Making ground, Best of Days over on the inside. Nicanova down the outside. Galway, Best of Days the inside. Lifting late, Military Zone and Nicanova. Galway's in front. Nicanova flashing. I think it just missed, but it's a photo.
The replay. I hope you all whipped that home. It did win, didn't it? It won.
That
won, didn't it? That won, simple.
Mate, did it win? You've got to be kidding me.
If that bloke from Richmond took that mark the other day, that's it. That's a win.
Hello.
Bisho!
Hey, boys, how are you?
What's happening, champion?
Oh, not much, mate. Just cruising around the house, peeking through the fence at the lady having the shower next door. That's all, nothing much.
Nice work. Hey, they still haven't banned that yet. They banned everything else, but they're not going to ban that. Sure.
No, I've got to do something. I'm stuck at home.
Absolutely. We were actually lucky enough to have a couple of blokes you may or not know.
Yeah,
We've got the trio of the Fannings in tonight for tonight's show.
Oh, three legends.
It's going to go for 3.5 hours. So.
Big night there.
But get your tips in and piss off. So.
I don't know if you saw it, but I told everyone to roll their Herald Sun up here and jump on the couch and whip it home. But we just had the replay of last week's agony.
Yeah, mate. No, Nick and Nova. All it had to do was sneeze. It would have won.
Would have been nice, Bish. Would have been nice.
We've got Simple on here. He said he's losing bleeding money, and he wants to talk to you.
Oh yeah, I bet you. I'll tell you what. The three Fannings there. I'll tell you what will be happening right now. Tell me if I'm wrong. Mark Fanning will be having a stubby, a Chico roll, a couple of demis.
Pretty much, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Stephen will be having a bottle of red and some prawns.
Yeah, exactly.
And Simon's probably getting a foot massage, looking at his phone and see how much money he's got in his account. How far wrong am I?
Mate, seriously, you're like psychic. You're not on. That's exactly what's happening here. Absolutely.
Oh no, they're all good boys.
He's eating a caviar sandwich as we speak.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was actually quite funny. I think a few years ago, Bish. Just looking on Facebook and remember we caught up at Hope Estate going to see the great man Elton.
You know, it was Eagles, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Eagles too. Yeah, it wasn't Elton. That's the other time.
Yeah, how pissed were you? No, we hadn't seen each other for a long time, and there we go. We bump into Hope Island, Wine Estate there at Newcastle. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Brilliant. So, Bisho, let's get on to your bets this week. So we need a lift here. So I believe you're going all out at the Big House. You're tipping something at the Big House. Is that right?
Flemington? Yeah, mate. We're going to Flemington, mate. We're going to headquarters. Right. Best bet of the day. Melbourne, race 7, number 1. King of Hastings at $3.
$3, beautiful.
King of Hastings, isn't it?
Yeah,
Steve Fanning, isn't it? We're just talking about that.
I know the King of Hastings Street in Hampton, and that's the Sarge. He lives in Hastings Street, and he is the King of Hastings.
Well, he's another bloke if he counts his money.
Sarge, he's got plenty.
50 cents each way.
He's still got a heap of those brown $1 notes and the green $2 notes. Don't worry about that bloke. He's a shocker. Anyway, you got...
Best each way. Yeah, best each way.
Yeah, race 9, number 4, Rich Charm at about $6.50 and $2.40.
Beautiful. Well, we'll go hard on those two. I know Badger's been posting those all-up bets each week on Facebook. I think he goes bang on them.
Yeah, good on him. This is the 5th week. I think we've had 3 seconds and a win. So
yeah, we're getting
we'll be right. But King of Hastings, mate.
Get on.
There's a bolt in.
All right, thanks very much for joining us. So, thanks, Bisho.
Hey, good on you, mate.
No worries, boys.
Right.
Have a great night.
That's mate. That was.
We'll try and look after these Fannings.
You owe me for Nick and Nova, Bish. It's the only time I've backed your tips, and you owe me.
Yeah, he'll be waiting for a cab fare home, that fella. He won't spend a cent.
Thanks,
no worries, boys.
Thank
Good
you.
on you, mate.
See you, mate. Bye.
See you next week.
Yeah. So
bye.
So just go that again. That was we're at headquarters, Flemington, race 7, number 1, King of Hastings, and best each way is race 9, number 4, Rich Charm each way. We've got Slob on now, so we've got Slob on the seat, in the hot seat.
Here we go.
Super coach himself.
Super coach, the original super coach with the white T-shirt and the red and white. There's the red and blue stick-on transfer.
Yeah, we've got him here from Bali. Got him back from Bali just for this.
Fake Bali. Had to go and get his new knee.
He got the coronavirus.
Got his new knee done from fake Bali.
A third guess is the third brother is Slob Fanning. He was the super coach at Heights, and he was the actual stalwart here. He stayed here. Played most of his career here, all your career, all career, never left. One club player,
one club. Unlike these two who just snuck off some cash. You weren't around.
I actually went to Carrum for a year.
There you go.
After I won the B&F.
Yeah.
And
What, you tart yourself around, did you?
How'd that pan out for you, big fella?
No, I know someone's brother-in-law who was coaching, but I won't tell you who it was.
There's a bit of nepotism going on.
There is.
Someone I know, someone who knows someone.
He was a knob. I think you can ask the bloke, he's here.
So tell us about your playing career at the Heights, family, and what you do for a cross now.
Played every year except for one down at the Heights. Retired at 30, had enough.
Yeah.
Got married, had a kid pretty quick.
Should have kept playing. When you think about
married
it.
to the lovely Nina.
They're lovely.
32
the patient.
years. Give her a plug, otherwise she mightn't talk to me ever again.
Is she listening in? Does she listen in?
No, she wouldn't listen in. I'll just replay it to her to say I gave her a plug. Yeah. A few more brownie points. Got two beautiful daughters. Jamie's doing her...
Very talented too with your family, aren't they?
Oh, very talented. Yeah. Takes after all the fannies, of course.
Of course. And humble too. Humble.
3rd degree. Doing a master's. It's
3rd degree.
Time you got a job.
That's a good point.
She's 28. Chanel's still at home. She's 30 this year.
Yeah.
She's working at a place called IAPMO. She's doing very well there, and she's done a psychology course, and she analyses me every Saturday night.
Oh, no, she's got a work cut out for the next couple of years.
Just quietly.
And when you finish with her, you come around to my joint 2 hours down.
To chip off the old block. Still living at home at 30.
Yeah, absolutely.
I left home at 28, thanks, not 30.
Haven't you got a parrot on your head?
Oh, yes. Yeah, true.
And my 6 wives in Bali, according to my wife.
Yeah, apparently so.
Send them a cheerio if it's possible.
Is Jimmy Johnson listening? He might be in Bali.
Yeah,
Is he back?
pass on the message.
He was looking the other day on Facebook. Can I fly to Jakarta then to Bali? And I'm thinking, what are you doing, Jim? You want to get COVID? You're only having 1,000 tested positive every day. Not to worry. Yeah, so basically that's it.
Yeah. Oh, you had some great times down here, though.
Oh, I had some great times here.
Yeah.
Got a message slip to give us a wave. You picked up an extra follower tonight.
Yeah, started off at the club at 1969.
Jeez, yeah.
When the club first originally started.
Yep.
And that, as I said, just only 1 year away.
Yep.
And then the great puppet taught me back Karen and coached the under-17s.
Yeah.
How old were you
We've got a
then?
question
How
about
old were you then when you coached the 17s?
17s, I think 15.
26.
26. Yeah, so I came back, took the boys on, and Jesus, was that a headache.
Yeah.
So who was you? I think it's I remember the day I was there. It was at Hampton Park, was that correct?
Well, we played at Hampton Park. We got done in the preliminary final.
Yep.
And I put a complaint in the league because there was a bloke from Cranbourne playing up at Hawthorn. They were chucking his name on the team sheet every week.
Richie.
What was he, 38 then?
Richie
Hammond.
Richie Hammond.
Yeah, he was only, 38
I said
then?
he never played a game of Cranbourne.
Exactly
I said, how can
right.
he be playing in the finals?
Yeah. I remember we looked up the record. He played every game at Hawthorn.
Yeah. And Kevin Allison decided to kick Cranny out of the grand final, and we were to take on Doveton.
Yeah.
So you cheated.
We didn't cheat.
We didn't cheat at all.
We didn't cheat at all, but I didn't think it was fair on my boys. They were all just come up from the under-13s.
Yeah.
No, 15s.
Molly, I told you he cheated.
And, the president of the league at that time was Kevin Allison, and he said...
He was a decent bloke,
he was
Kevin
a decent
Allison.
bloke, yeah.
Oh, fuck him anyway. You know what I mean?
Exactly, that's what I thought.
We've copped out a lot of shit over the years, so it's about time.
I wasn't copping any shit, so...
So what was that like, coaching those kids? Because, as we all know, they were pretty wild growing up around here and stuff like that. Well, pretty
the kids were good.
Kids, but yeah.
But they wouldn't turn up to train. We'd get probably 8 or 10 on a Tuesday, and then you get the full squad because they wanted a game on Sundays. And, they were... a hard handle. I used to crack the shits halfway during the year and go to Bali for 3 weeks. And then I went with a great mate. First trip was Dicko and Joey Cleese.
The Rat.
All those, the Rat. And a couple of blokes from Keysborough. And then I come back after 3 weeks. I think the first year we went there, there was no roads in Bali back in those days. And we get to Melbourne Airport on the way home, and we all had about 70 kilos worth of shitty T-shirts and bloody tank tops. And I gave the boys all a tank top and everything for you know.
Turn up to train.
Turn up to train.
We've been drinking Bing Tang ever since.
How did you get all that stuff on the plane? I said, we paid the duty in Bali. Cost us $5. They were taking slings back in those days. It was good.
What about, we spoke to Bears the other night about it was pretty dark, and we talk to everyone who gets on the show about the dark days of playing here, because they weren't all great. I mean, my memories are, it brought everyone together, but it was a tough time to play.
It was a tough time,
you know, it was
really, we all stuck together.
And that's the basic thing, wasn't it?
Probably, you know, we're a good social club.
Yeah. The greatest social club.
We'd come home from Cranbourne and go home and have a shower, then we'd meet the Cranny boys at the Cranny Dogs or somewhere, or go over to the Keesey pub and have a drink with a few of the Keesey boys after we'd lost to them. And
as Jimmy Abe said to me, he goes, mate, we were the best losers ever. Yeah. We really got losing, you know what I mean?
You know, we played against some good football. Like Cranbourne had the Garretts and the bloody...
but they were guns. They were Glees, they were just monsters.
And all those days, yeah. Back in the early days in the seniors, you could play some tough blokes, you know, because a lot of VFA blokes came to Southwest Gippsland. I reckon Southwest Gippsland was one of the toughest leagues going around at that time.
And I think I mentioned that.
Beg your pardons, you know, you'd be sniped here, there and everywhere. You know?
I think I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago years ago when Bomb Beach, those guys had to play the Southwest teams, you know, a few years ago when they... And they were like shocked. They're like, how did you guys... play with those guys, you know what I mean?
AFL players and VFL players.
Yeah.
Not VFL, but VFL and ex-VFA blokes.
Cranny I respected because they were tough and they were good.
Well,
so if you wanted
Billy
to stand up to them...
and like that coaching, and Jimmy Reid had played at St Kilda coaching Beaky. And
yeah. But they would...
Shinners was out at bloody Narry Warren. And
they would beat you up, right?
Yeah.
And if you got lippy with them, they'd fucking beat you up again, right? And then they try and beat you in the cocktail night, right? Whereas Doveton and Hampton Park would just beat the shit out of you for something to do, you know what I mean? So at least you earned your respect from Cranbourne.
But yeah, there was some mighty crowd blues in some of those games, especially against Doveton when you had Ronnie Hollingsworth behind a goal. I won't say what it is because you're not allowed to say it these days, but...
bastards, apparently, yeah.
So, and again, the question about the under-17s, I don't know what you're thinking coaching us blokes, and we've spoken about
we had a great
Paul
team.
Foote. Oh, we had a great team, but it was a guessing game on a Sunday who was going to turn up. I know Simple would have been playing seniors. I was 16. Simple was, Footy was. We'd usually turn up on Sunday with a corky and a hangover.
Finals, you know?
Yeah, we used to turn up with
qualify. He needs to play, 6 games and all that sort of stuff. And
yeah, we usually turn up with a corky and a hangover.
Not around with a broken neck half the time. You know?
Yeah,
when he got the shit.
So I don't know how he did that. So that must have been
a bit of a tough year.
Kids. But how did that? When you won it, I was there.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
As these guys know, we weren't in doubt. We should have won probably more premierships than we should have in all grades across all levels and stuff like that.
Well, we won that the first year when the kids had all come up.
Yeah.
And we should have probably won it the second year. And I think Cranny knocked us off, didn't they?
Yeah.
But that was a pretty good moment. I remember I still remember that time you had a white T-shirt with Supercoach printed on there. So
I think David Harris gave it to Supercoach after on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And I just met Nina. I'd only been going out with her. I met her at Barebum's at fundraiser for our footy trip.
Yeah.
She goes, it was about 5 in the morning. She says, geez, you look good. What? She goes, how many beers you had? I said, not many.
Yeah. I remember the losing game. There wasn't much in it. I think it was nearly the last kick of the day, wasn't it, that we lost against Cranbourne. But I remember...
The one against Dufton was a beauty. We were down by about 3 or 4 goals at 3/4 time.
Yeah, but I myself are really nervous before a game. But that game, I was so confident because we'd beaten Dufton twice during the year and we had the wood on him.
Captain Boxy hadn't had a kick up to
Foxy.
3/4 time.
He was shit house.
Darren, I said, you are starting to run over this big fat bloke at centre half back.
Yeah.
Did he kick a couple from the far?
He kicked about 3 goals from about
30
where the net was. Yeah,
it was a gun. Boxy was a gun.
If you listen, Boxy, wouldn't I go fishing soon? Anyway.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for me snapper, Boxy.
Yeah. And you remember this too. I didn't realise how much it meant to everyone until the next or after the game the next day. How many people that you hadn't spoken to come around, put your arm around them, and said how fantastic it was that we won.
It was a great win.
It was fantastic. Yeah. Brought everyone together. It was really good time.
Because I think we'd down 3 goals or 4 goals at 3/4 time.
Yeah.
And I just said, look, don't panic. I said, if they get the first, we'll get the next 2. And I said, they'll all shit their pants, Dufton.
Yeah.
I think it all started from the middle. Fanning to foot to Harris on the wing. Harris to box, goal! Little guilty!
I'm pretty sure that's pretty close to how it went, actually.
Yeah, probably.
The truth, for sure.
Yeah.
But it was amazing what the old wet towel and magic spray used to
Sprays
do.
to do.
You know, blokes to be going down.
Quinny, are you listening, Quinny?
Quinny, are you there? Dean Cordo was probably the worst.
Last to pass.
He must have had the run around every quarter.
Who's that?
Dean Cordo.
Oh, God.
He used to go down. I said, just give magic spray on his leg.
Yeah.
Wipe his face with the wet towel and he'd be fine. And he'd jump up and he'd run around like a maniac and again for another 20 minutes. Yeah, he was good.
Dear. So we have to, because we've got going to interview the three of you in a sec. So we've got one more question.
Yeah, you can wind up with me because I don't take as long as these two do.
Yeah, I know. So
you've got the most achievements, but we'll give you another.
Well, he's humble. Premiership coach. There's a bit of humility in the Fanning family somewhere. So, your administrative role in the club the last couple of years. Why did you come back, and why are you helping out? Because we all know that it takes a lot of people.
Yeah, well, Puppet asked me, and Potsy, he said, "Can you come on the committee and give us a hand?" And then about 4 weeks later, he resigned. I said, "What?" That was a setup. Remember, I've seen one.
Sure.
Yeah, so basically that was it. That's how they hooked me in, hook, line and sinker.
Last man standing.
So there was the two of us left, and then Benny goes, "I'll come back, and do the paperwork." Because I don't think there was much paperwork done at Chelsea Heights.
For a good reason, actually. Yeah, for sure.
We won't go into details, but you asked a couple of questions at the committee meeting.
And do you still like it? And because for
I still
me
come down to the club, and I've got off the committee.
Yeah.
But I'll come down on a Thursday. I'll knock off work at 1 o'clock or 1:30 and come and mark the ground and set up Saturday mornings and help behind the bar or whatever.
Yeah, because you do understand that it's super important for especially this club to survive that you and get these guys back involved and this man and everyone what we're trying to do to make this little, because I told Wiggy told me one day, he said Chelsea Heights is a boutique club, and first I got a little bit shits with him because we're always at the back up against all the great clubs around, and I understood what he said. He said you can't compete against your Chelseas and this and your Mornings. You can't. So you've got to all group together and be a little boutique club to survive. And that survive, and exactly what we are. So after he said that, I was a little bit insulted, then I understand what he said. But we have to do that. So if we call on all the old stages and get all those blokes who had so many great times here and so many good memories is what we're plugging into with the show, and that's what we all need to do. So
exactly, help out the Heights.
Exactly right.
Any of you blokes that are playing footy here that need a good insurance company, BJS.
Absolutely right.
Is a proud sponsor of the Chelsea Heights Football Club.
Do you do health insurance, like personal health insurance?
It's funny you should mention that, Toddy.
I'm just saying, he's been coughing like
do not insure Todd Pegram.
I'm about 4 bottles of wine every night. I'm due for a massive stroke soon.
I can actually point you into. We've got a deal with Australian Unity that anyone who's associated with our business can actually get 7.5% off their health insurance for lifetime.
Yep.
For your family and all that sort of stuff, if you just mention that you're involved with BJS Insurance Brokers. So I'm happy to send the EDM out to whoever wants to pump that out for the footy club. And
absolutely.
We don't get anything out of it. It's just a benefit for people to hopefully do a little bit better for the family. Everyone needs to save cash.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm an insurance mate. I don't like paying it, but you have to do it. It's a necessary thing that you have to do. And
do you actually pay when you actually own the company? Or?
Oh, you just put in a negative variation slot.
Because I was just going to say that I had no idea what you're talking about, but Nicole probably would have signed up soon in case I dropped dead tomorrow. So you probably need to speak to Nicole later on.
Could be a $1 million price tag on your head tonight.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Might not
but any of the new players or that who've got businesses that want them insured, go through BJS. It helps the club as well.
That's great. And the whole thing about, like I said, every week I say, it's about connecting with local businesses and local clubs and getting back to... Next week, every show we've had is a connection to the club. We've got a show in a couple of weeks about...
Taxation.
Taxation.
Yep.
Not insurance because the moon's right.
Yep.
And they're local. So we want to involve everyone to get back in that little group, community feel, look after each other. Nicole works in the bank, and that's what we want to do. And that's what this club's...
The Bendigo Bank.
Sorry, sponsor of the footy club. Gardens. But this is, as we all know, we grew up here. There was nothing else. There was footy and cricket, and we grew up here. And that's what basically.
I'll tell you, Domino's Pizza sponsor the club as well.
We do.
Apparently so, but which ones? Because I mentioned the wrong branch the other night.
Patterson Lakes.
Yeah, no, I said Morty Alec and fuck that up. But anyway, I'm not getting any Morty.
Yeah,
Right, let's go on to the next one.
Well, you know what you mean.
Well, so the moral of the story is insure your partner for life insurance, and they're all.
Especially if he's a fat, smoking, fucking drinking bastard.
Give him a few beers, and there's always a spare pillow.
Absolutely.
and
Thank you very much.
And all the people from the Heights who own businesses, such as Hoss and Molly.
Exactly.
And all those blokes should all be jumping on to
Jesse
BJS
O'Dell.
Insurance, because the club will get a little kickback through that process.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And there's a few out there.
I don't know. Do you want Moose?
The foot drainage gang, negative. I went and saw Obi one day, and Obi was going through a bit of strife, and he said, "Can you help me? How can you?" And I went down there and saw Obi, and he's giving it this way. He's a little bit busy, and I said, "Obes, look, you haven't got the right stuff here, mate." And he was like, "Yeah, but can you do it?" And I said, "Yeah, I can. But do you really want me to?" And he goes, "Just leave it where it is, mate. That's all right." But yeah, I mean, I think one of the things is that, with what we do with our business, we try and make sure that if you do have an issue, or, we do all insurance. We do home and motor and all that sort of stuff. It's just one of those things where we'll give you the advice. It's whether you take it on board. We're an advice business. And that's what we do. So,
and no one wants to talk about it. No one likes to talk about it because it's everyone thinks it's a cost. But in the end, when something goes wrong, it's super important.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I insure my house, and I can't afford to rebuild that on my own. And it's like
yes, you can.
It's a bit like Mark, I used to insure his business, but he's only a minority partner. He tells me, but apparently he's got a 1/3 vote.
You get a 1/3 vote, so if you get outvoted and BJS is a bit more expensive, what do I do?
Wow, it's the cost of doing business, Slob.
We should have a fourth banning doing legal.
I'll actually send you that
But I must say, BJS is pretty good. So when
hang on,
I knew this is where it was going.
This is the biggest plug ever we've ever had of all our sponsors. We can talk about BJS all night.
I'll tell you how
Google
good
nepotism.
BJS is. When you decide, it was late last year, I decided when I was coming up the driveway not to hit the brake and took the Mercedes-Benz through the front door into the hallway. Deb come running down the hallway and
Stephen!
Up the door. What the fuck have you done? And I said, "Oh, well, it needs a renovation at the front, doesn't it?" And I was straight on the phone to BJS.
Oh, yeah. You can read into that what you want.
The crew was out fixing the front of the house, and about 40 grand later, all fully covered by BJS. Beautiful.
Have you got a new wine rack after that? You just add a few, improvements.
He's widened the front door.
Yeah, exactly.
I reckon we've been stitched up tonight. How good's this sponsorship?
Mate, seriously.
We've been stitched up.
I just realised after tonight that I am the most shithouse person in Chelsea Lights ever. I'm the biggest loser in Chelsea Lights ever. I've never gone on to...
You can get $1 million life insurance policy tonight from Simon.
And the winner is not me.
The winner is Nicole Pegram.
I said I just need a spare pillow.
You get $1 million. You get $1 million. You get $1 million.
That's it. So we'll get into. We're going to have a chat about
another bottle of red
about your early life. Kendall, you wrote some great words on our past players about everyone getting together and supporting the club. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
So and this is, I suppose, why we all, I was away from the club for a lot of years, and it's always why you gravitate back is that the Heights Footy Club and the golf club, it's like a little community. And Bears got me back years ago playing golf with all the boys. But our father, unfortunately, he died when I was 12. Slob was 15, and Simon was 4.
Yeah.
Basically, had a small life insurance policy to pay it off the house. But Mum had to work, and the football club was incredible. We didn't have to pay for registrations.
Yeah.
We got kitted up with shorts and boots and things like that. And you look through little tragedies that we had all those years ago, 40 odd years ago.
Yeah.
And it still happens today.
Yeah.
Is the Heights people always rally around the Heights community, and I think that's one of the great things with the club is, our good mate Irish, when he passed away, and, you look at the money that people pledged and...
Weren't they chasing money at his funeral? How much did he owe?
Yeah. But,
I think he was nearly even, broke even.
I think he broke even on the day. But, that's what the Heights community is all about, and, it's great that all Heights people sort of starting to gravitate back. But I go back to the function of the 50-year function last year. And there was 220 or 240 people turned up to that function, and I remember standing at the end, being named the captain. I was standing next to a bloke called Bob Green, and I used to watch him as a 12, 13, 14-year-old running around here, and he was my hero. And I actually said to him on the night after that presentation, I went up and I said, Bob, you were my favourite footballer.
Yeah.
You were my bloody hero as a kid. I think Bobby used to play, you wore number 2, I still remember that I told him. Number 2, centre-half back. And he goes, bullshit, you're kidding. And I said, mate, you were my favourite. And I said, but the best footballer was Coco Robbins.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. It's great.
He was just swift and he could do everything. But
wouldn't amble.
But we just need those people who turned up at that function. If all those people could come back, buy a membership, those who have got businesses like the Cluffies and all that could put $500 in or $1,000 a year as a better thing. It sustains the club.
Yeah, that's the important
for future
thing.
generations.
That's the important thing, isn't it? It's not
what we really
tomorrow.
want.
It's for the next 10 years.
If you got 200 people putting in $500, 10,000. That's $10,000. I mean, that goes a long way to helping this football club operate profitably. We know in this league we don't have to, there's not massive player payments, but a lot of people like all you guys, especially Nicole and all the volunteers do a great job. And for those who have benefited out of the life experience at Chelsea Heights, we'd love to see all those people put a little bit back into it, and that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely, and that's the exact thing. Like when you said those words at the start of the year, I think it touched me and it touched a few, and I know it touched Grant. We mentioned on that, and they were great to know that someone who's not only well loved by the club and a superstar at the club, whatever you want to call you, we call you and stuff like that.
Superstar.
Yeah. No, goat. As Hoss says, goat.
Yeah, goat. Well, it's a new word, but and that's the whole. Anybody who knows, and I've been I love this club like you guys do. We've done so many things for other people and we look after each other. So now the club needs some looking after by itself. So that's all we need. It's just the people to think back, remember these great times, remember that time, that was great. Whether it's $500, $100, whatever it is, a little bit just makes this club sustain itself. So it gives my chance to say to my young bloke, I would be the most proudest parent if I could see my young bloke, Luke, run out on this club, on the ground, with his jaw swords jump on. Yeah. That'd mean a huge amount to me. Yeah.
I don't know whether you can see this on camera, folks, but Todd's welling up. So it's pretty emotional. And
tell us simple about your growing up, how you got down the club stuff.
I mean, as a junior footy club, we were pretty much an envy of a lot of clubs. We were strong, really strong. We had Pego and Burra and Smitty, Jimmy and Rasso and all those guys from that age when we all went through school. But this club was amazing.
But also, one parent family. How did you find it tough?
I mean, you can bitch and moan about what happened in your life and all that sort of stuff. But I was a bit lucky, I'm the youngest of 3 brothers.
Yeah.
I used to fleece them for a fair bit of coin during the day.
Especially after a night out.
Steve bought me my first set of golf clubs when he came home with match payments. They fell on the floor and there was a little $50 note sitting on the floor, and I went, oh well, you snooze, you lose. So then I bought my first set of golf clubs with that $50 note, and on a Sunday morning I used to get up. Mark had come home, he'd been out to the bridge or whatever and fall asleep, and you'd fleece about $20 worth of coins. They were just down the back of the couch. He'd fall asleep on the couch. He'd get up. He'd go to bed. And then he'd wake up at about midday, 1 o'clock, and he'd go, "Oh, can you get me a 1.25 and a packet of Winnie Reds?" I said, "Yeah, no worries, all right. How much are they?" And, "Oh, yeah, I think it's about $6 back in those days." I said, "Well, it's costing you 10." And so, I had a little enterprise going. It was great, but I was lucky. Unlucky that I didn't have a dad, but I had two good dads.
Yeah, two.
But my uncles and aunties, we pretty much raised ourselves. Mum got remarried to a guy who was good for Mum, not good for us.
Yeah.
But great for Mum.
Yeah.
So, he loved Mum, and that's all that mattered for us. I think I was the only bloke who never knocked him out. But, no shame on me there.
Yeah.
I think I grabbed him by the throat and put him on the washing machine once. That was about as good as it got. But, do I regret anything in life? Yeah, look, I wish I had a better relationship with my old man, but,
Yeah.
you get dealt the cards you have, and that's just the way it is. I always say to my young bloke, I said, "Mate, you're 9 years ahead of me in a relationship, so, you're always doing okay." But I had so many dads and so many mums.
Yeah.
Lynn Foot, Gary Foot,
Yeah.
Maureen and Bob Box, who used to live next door to us. We never had a phone.
Yeah.
They had a phone. They were rich. They had a phone.
Yeah.
We never had a phone.
Yeah.
When I, in the early days. So, had so many.
You kept bringing those bloody Sheilas off the 1-300 ads.
Oh, yeah. But I was lucky. I was very fortunate. Being the youngest of the three of us.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people look after me, so I've got no problems whatsoever. If we weren't here, who knows how would have things turned out? But the people of Chelsea Heights really looked after us, and I got looked after really well. So that's what this club means.
Yeah.
in my life,
Flob?
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I mean, probably a couple of blokes who really need to get a real big tick in this football club. There's the likes of Gary Foot,
Yep.
Al Smith.
Yep.
Big Al.
I would
Great
hate
man.
to see how many players, I worked for them both a couple of times.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
how many people
I've worked there, yeah.
who were doing it tough and didn't have a job that those blokes took on
Yep.
to give a quid to put a feed on the table. And I mean, that's what I call the Chelsea Heights community.
That's right.
Yeah. I worked with footy, Al and Closey's old
Closey,
man. When
yeah.
I was out my arse and had my knees, and basically sit down, fucking here you go, here's $600 a fucking week to be doing fuck
And
all.
then in the summer, when we were growing up as kids, Leo Mulvogue,
Yeah.
we would all be
Mulvogue.
brickers labourers for him.
Well, they got their pound of flesh, but you heard it, you know what I mean? So it was great.
Yeah. What about yourself, Slob, growing up?
Yeah, pretty tough.
Yeah.
When the old man passed away,
Yeah.
then we get off the bus from Bombeach High School, and I seen the two uncles' cars there, and I knew
Something's wrong.
straight away.
Yeah.
The old man was probably one of the first ones to have a pig's valve put in his heart.
Yeah.
And then you had the old stress after he'd gone. I think I left school, got a job getting paid 70, used to give the old lady 50 of that every week,
Yeah.
just to help out.
Yeah.
Left with 20, didn't leave much for drinking, but used to sneak some money here and there.
Yeah.
But Simon used to take it all. But as I said, Mum's side of the family were great. The blokes like Bluey Adams and that, they're all good friends of the family, and we never went without, put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, we might have a chip sandwich on a Friday night for dinner, or a bowl of tomato soup on a Sunday, nothing flash, but we survived, and we come out better blokes for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why it's been, like, when we started the show, we had no idea what we were doing, and you guys were always going to be on it, you know what I mean, because you've had a massive influence in Chelsea Heights. You still have that connection. Yeah. You've never left that, you know that, you know what I mean. I joke about Simon marrying the money and shit like that, but I know all you guys have... You're always Chelsea Heights.
I reckon I could run into Simon at the Brighton Yacht Club or something, and I think he'd still say that you can take the boy out of the heights, but you can't
polish his boat.
But you can't take, but you can't take the heights out of the boy. Would that be correct?
Yeah, well, Yeah, that's right, Grant. I mean, yeah, I wish I did have a boat. Well, I do have a boat, but it's only a little ski boat type. So, and I had to go 50-50 with the brother-in-law. But
I'm looking for a tinny to go out at Patterson River there.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that you never forget where you come from.
Yeah.
I'm still the same person. I just live in a different postcode.
Lives on the other side of the bridge, was the old Jack.
Well, yeah, Denver Rains.
Is it Morty Bridge? Because I've never been past it.
Yeah, but, you know, you don't forget where you come from, and I think if you do, then, you know, you're probably not the person that you want to be involved with. And I think, you know, you cop a bit of flack from Molly and a few others online, but that's okay. It's that's what we're there for, because if your mates can't tear you down, then who can?
If you can't, like I said, I bumped into Vanessa Cups the other day at the bottle shop, and she said, "Oh, what you said about, you know, Simon married," and I pissed myself. And I thought, if you're from Chelsea Ice and you can't take a joke,
that's right.
Well, you're not from Chelsea Ice.
That's right.
Because we all grew up the same way.
Yeah.
You know, it was hard, it was tough, and that kind of stuff. And taking the piss out of each other was a way to survive and stuff like that.
It's a bit like Smitty. Used to come home from, you know, work or school or something, and he was good mates with Simon. He'd go to the fridge. Hang on, where's all the orange juice gone? Where's all the biscuits out of the cupboard? Simon goes, "Oh, Smitty come around." And I said, "Well, tell Smitty it's going to cost him $10 to get through the back door next time." Because we used to always leave the back door open because, you know, no one was there, and Smitty would drink us out of house and home and eat us out of house and home, didn't he?
Well, the only trouble was we shared a bedroom, and I had a double bed in my room, and Simon had the single. And it's not very nice when I get home at 1 o'clock in the morning and Smitty's in my bed. I get out of my fucking bed, Smitty, and he's pissed himself in my bed.
And eating your food as well.
Eat the food.
That's all your orange juice.
So, no, not real good.
Not very good.
It was a bit like when you and Hacky used to go out and come home. I used to put me dressing drawer up against the door because they'd harass me and try and break the door down. I copped it twice and that was enough.
All right, boys. We'll go around here. This will be a hard question for you. Tell us the best player you've seen at the Heights.
You can say yourself.
Look, I'll go over two eras. I mentioned him before. As a kid watching football, and even when I was 15, watching Coco Robbins was probably the best I've ever seen. Jump, run, do everything. And I think by memory, a lot of years ago, he was named the best Metro country footballer never to play VFL football.
That was mentioned last week, I think, isn't it?
He won 4 league best and fairest in different leagues.
Yeah. One of them in the Hawthorn?
And then you go to the sort of... So I go through that era, and then sort of then my era, a little bit younger. You know, the two most outstanding footballers was probably Paul Smith and Paul Foote.
Yeah.
And then you had a whole host on it, but those two clearly, Smitty was just ferocious as a kid when I put him into the ones, and Footy was just tough, but they were probably the three people from two different eras that I would say are the best.
Yeah.
It's a good call.
Yeah, it's
pretty good call. You know, that's a good call.
Simple.
Who was better than me?
Who was better than me?
That was your calling card and name for ages. Who was better than me?
I remember that. That was in the under-17. I remember there was a few things going on in that under-17 year, and I just didn't want to play against Dingley on the Sunday. I didn't want to play, and then I kicked 5, and you know, there was like a promise of coins and all that sort of stuff at the end, and they said, "Oh, bad luck, mate, you're second best." And I said, "Well, who was better than you?"
That stuck for a long time now.
That's just stuck, and you know, Nugget will always bring that up, and you know, I love Nugget. I bought my first car from Nugget, so you know, they're one of those things. But best player that I've seen, you know, like I worship the ground that he walked on when he was playing footy. I love to watch him play. Was he the best? That's everyone else reckons he is, but you know, there were a lot of good ones down here.
Dinger doesn't. But anyway,
you know, I look at, you know, guys like Peter Oakes, Keith Robbins was you know, like Steve said, Keith Robbins was amazing. Probably didn't play here a lot, you know, long enough, but I think played with, you know, enjoyed giving him. You know, he had the best ride when I was tapping the ball to him. But yeah, without a doubt, Paul Paul was the best player I played with and watched play footy.
You've just lost his insurance policy now.
But, well, that's all right. I don't earn anything from it anyway, so it's not a problem. But, Paul and I, we're at number 2, Circle Drive. He was at number 18. The south side of Thames Promenade was always the better side.
Oh, yeah.
The south side was always better than north. And,
I used to call it the dog patch.
It's like Patterson Lakes or something like that, wasn't it?
I remember in '89 at the end of the season, like our coaches said, are there any other blokes that you reckon could make it? And I said, you got to speak to Paul Foote. Like in '89, I think he was just 18, and he was centre half forward for the Southwest Gippy in the interleague side.
Jeez, yeah.
And I remember going down watching, and I think they were playing down at Geelong. Steve had his nose spread across his face in about the first couple of minutes,
right,
and that was a sight to see. But for a kid of 18 years of age to play senior interleague and dominate, he was a jet, and I love him like a chocolate, and he knows that. So.
Like I said, I'm not sure if you listened to it last week. He rang me last week, and he said to me, because Paul's, like I said, he's got his Nokia 5210 with a snake game on. So Paul's social media doesn't do Paul. You ring him and that's fucking it, you know what I mean? And he rang up and he goes, and he was so humble. Judd sent him a message or a link of one of our shows, and he was that humble. He said, I had a tear at Smoko because I didn't realise what people thought of me and how people who I played with thought of me or respected me that way. He said I was really humbled by it, you know what I mean? And he was, he was fucking good. You know what I mean? He was tough as fuck, Paul.
Yeah, I think one of the things, even though Paul was a jet, he didn't realise he was a jet.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
And, it was unfortunate what happened to him at the tunnel, and, we
I didn't go out that night. I stayed at home. No, it was a Sunday night. It was a Sunday night, and we're around Paul's joint. Lynn was there. Everyone, there's a photo on somewhere that everyone's got their white T-shirts or their shirts on. And I used to not go out on a Sunday night. That was my thing. And they went to the tunnel, and I watched the news at 6 o'clock the next, and there was a blue one, and then the bloke, or what it was, got smashed in the face with a baseball bat, smashed his fucking jaw, and fucked his basic career.
Yeah, and pretty much, that sort of, I guess Melbourne was a bit of a conservative footy club, and you don't embrace the rogues. That's what they never did, and I guess one of those things that Paul could play, but they didn't stick by him, and that was, for me, it was a little bit. It left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But I mean, at the end of the day, you can go and play footy in town and be a good player, but he never left Chelsea Heights, and he was the only reason he got whacked is because he was sticking up for one of his mates.
Yeah.
And
which you'd always do anyway.
He was always there, and he stuck up for you, and unfortunately, being a good bloke was his downfall.
Yeah,
true. Footy, well, not his downfall, but from a footy perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what happened.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Slob, best player, the same.
Best player besides myself.
Just say yourself, for Christ's sake.
Okay, I was good in '84.
That's because no one was here.
I've probably seen so many good footballers come through this joint or play at this joint, through the years. I probably don't have a favourite, because if I say who it is, he probably won't get his head through the freaking door. Jump in front of the fire there. Nah, sorry, Simon.
It's obviously not Dinger, because he's not here.
He's going to walk home with a broken neck tonight, so he's going to go, what did they do to you down here?
Well, he's got insurance.
As you say, like Stephen, Paul, Ford. I remember, playing with Oaksy and all that. Those blokes I admired. Because Oaksy's the only bloke that played in the Southwest Gippsland and belt a bloke every week and never got 1 week for the whole 10 years or 5 years, whatever he played here, or 6 years, Oaksy was probably one of my heroes as well.
He was one of mine.
I wouldn't want to be an F without Oaksy because he was coaching and made me ruck all year. So I was always near the ball. It was probably, as Stephen said, Keithy Robbins, and you had your Tony Werns and...
Wernie.
Like blokes in different positions.
I love JD. I love big
Wernie
JD.
never used to miss a mark, He kicked left foot, and he was a good footballer too. And
I actually was a big fan of Gary
was-
Foote too.
Yeah.
In the twos, he was.
Moose was one of my heroes. Look, I shouldn't say that. But, he was tough and rugged. Like him and Kevin Canavan and all those.
Kempy.
Used to sit there and watch them, and Kempy'd have 5 fingers spread and Paran blokes, and then I'll just tell you a little story off beat here. Played in the under-17s at 13 years of age. Old Harry McKay was coaching.
Big was he?
Yeah.
Big man.
This is under-17s. He says, we're short, can you fill in? So it was me and Rockhead turn up, got our gear on. And the blokes bowled me out here on a half-forward flank. Anyway, skinheads and sharpies were back in those days, and we had 7 blokes turn up in cars. And I'm going,
Stolen, I'm guessing. Stolen, I'm guessing.
I think half of them
allegedly.
were from Paran. And anyway, this Huxtable that played here, he goes, "Are you all right?" This bloke cleaned me up. Went over like a bag of shit, 13, playing under 17s. He goes, "Did he hurt you?" I said, no, not really. He goes, "Stuff him, I'm going to belt him anyway." Bang! They were crazy back in those days, the skinheads and the sharpies, I tell you. It was a good club.
Slob, any post or pre-game rituals that you had when you played?
If I had a good game when I was playing a pair of jocks, I'd wear them the next week.
I did that too.
If I had a shit game, I'd go, not wearing those ones next week. But no, that was about it.
Yeah.
I used to chuck up in the shower as soon as I had breakfast, because I'd be thinking about the game.
Yeah, nervous, yeah.
So I'd have, a bit of toast, and then you get in the shower, and there it goes, out. So it's no use having a bit of toast. Yeah, that was about it.
All right, it's simple.
Yeah, left sock first, right sock second.
Yeah.
Left boot first, right boot second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it ever affect you? Because when you get in that, I used to do some weird shit when I was a kid. No, seriously, I think my lips and fucking just be weird. Did it ever affect your game if you didn't?
To be honest, Toddy, I have no idea. It's a bit like walking down the street to the shops and not stepping on the crack.
Yeah.
Don't step on the crack on the.
It doesn't fucking matter anyway, does it?
That was exactly the same thing. I don't know whether I was going to get eaten by the crocodiles or not, but yeah, it's just left foot, right foot. That was just even putting my pants on today, it's still left foot first and right foot first. It stayed with me since I was a junior.
Well, thanks for letting me know. That was the most stupid question I've asked so far.
Yeah, always had to clean my boots and polish them before a game.
Yeah.
So always wanted to run out with clean boots.
Yeah.
That'd be a Jock McGregor trait.
Was it socks up?
Socks
always
up.
Always socks up.
He said
jumper tucked in.
Had to look the part, Toddy.
Jumper
Jock
tucked in.
said to me, he goes, you can't be a footballer, always look like a footballer.
I worked for a bloke one time at T&T who was I used to call him Dad and he called me son. And he always used to say, you can wear the best suits, young fella, but son, I tell you, always look at the shoes because that tells you what the person is.
Yeah.
So it always stuck with me. So I always had my polished boots. My after-game ritual was always, and probably part of my downfall, was a few too many frothies.
Maybe.
I look like I'm shit.
All right, so we'll go with you, Steve. Have you got any quick stories you want to give us a demon tale to finish off, or any demon tales you got?
I've left it on the table, so I'll put it over to Simon.
Yeah, you got a demon tale for us? Simple. Apart from pissing on my leg in the shower.
Before we finish up,
Yeah.
I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yep.
And to have you three guys on. We go back a long way and stuff like that, so it was always great to have you on there and the history and stuff like that. But we've learnt a little bit more about you guys, even though we've known you for a long time. So it's absolutely, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. And, really respect you guys. I love you guys like champions anyway, but yeah, it's been really great. It's been a great show for me. I think it's been fantastic.
Good on you, Toddy. We love everyone like a biscuit. So it's well, coach, please.
There's always someone, isn't there?
Yeah, well, just taking it to another level.
Okay,
the producer's gone mad.
Hey.
I guess I was going to use the Jimmy story rocking up at the front door. That was always good. But I remember a footy trip. I think it might have been after, I hope it was 1996. I think we may have gone to the Gold Coast and we were staying at the Islander, one of the great resorts on the Gold Coast. And so Scotty Crombie was staying in a room with someone else, and I just thought I'd play a bit of a practical joke on Scotty. So dropped a bit of a live one in his drawer. Dropped a bit of a live one in his drawer on the first day, and then by the time he got to Saturday night, he goes, "Geez, this room stinks." And then he happened to open the drawer and stumble upon one of a little nugget that had been left in his drawer, and. It's one of those things on footy trips. They're good fun, but there's a guy who surprised the crap out of me. Scotty Crombie was a guy that I'd never paid much attention to as a footballer at school, but gee whiz, when we played here under Jimmy, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, he played a role. He played a role. He was the person that got taught to play a role, and he played his role.
Yeah, and was I think he played centre half back when we were playing, and just got it done. And there's a guy that no one will ever talk about ever again, but Scott Crombie was a guy I grew up with.
Yeah.
But poor old Scotty. Scotty, if you're out there, mate, and you're watching, I apologise.
I was going to say, allegedly.
I'll go for it, Steve.
So I've got one. It was probably the...
Just go on.
No, it's... I've got to mention of guns, guys. It's probably King Ken will talk tonight. The best player I've ever coached at the Chelsea Heights Football Club.
Well, you don't have to tell me.
And it goes to Tank Reid. Tank Reid, the Slug, who I have no idea how to fucking click this on the night and watch it. Anyway. So Slugger was a young fella, all in your age groups, and brought him up when I come down to coach, and I said, you can play senior football, but you got to get fit, be dedicated, and he put this unbelievable pre-season in, incredible, and wasn't real talented at the football, Slug.
Yeah.
But had the biggest heart.
Yeah.
And I always remember picking him for his first game in the ones. And I said, Tank, all you do is punch the ball. If you get it, do not try and handball it, just kick it. Just don't care what you do, just kick it.
He couldn't handball, yeah.
Don't think.
Yeah.
Do not think, just kick.
Yeah, don't think,
just like Nike, just do it.
Yeah.
And I always remember a couple of games later, and he was going really well, and I just said, see that bloke there, Tank? Which one? Tell me which one. I said, that one over there. When he goes near the ball, guess what you're going to do? Don't think. You just go flat out and you just run straight through that bloke. Done. And I used to pick one out every game that was doing well.
He spoke Buff Dalglish.
And go to him, just do that, Tank.
Yeah.
It'd be fantastic. Great. And I gave him the Coach's Award that year. He must have cleaned up so many people and just beautiful.
He used to play against Dalglish, but Buff Dalglish was a fucking monster.
Yeah, he was.
An absolute monster.
Yeah.
And same thing, just punch and punch and punch. And he was gun Dalglish, and Slugger just fucking same thing, just give him a job to do, and he did it. He was great like that. He was terrific.
You got a story you want to Demon Tile, or?
No,
That's okay.
Not really. I don't want
That's
to dob
okay.
anyone in.
No, that's all good.
Allegedly. You say allegedly first, and then you say what you want.
I know. Actually, our tipster, I reckon I found him in the car park.
We might have to wrap
in
this
the
up.
car park.
We might have to wrap this up.
They're the best 22.
Oh, the best 22. We'll get the. I'll tell you what we'll do. Well, the best 22, and then we'll turn everything off, and
we'll do the joke of the week. We're going to do the joke of the week as well.
Have you had that other horse in?
Hey?
Is Bears still?
Nah, what is it?
This thing's gone for 2 hours.
It's gone.
I heard there's a horse running in Adelaide in race 1. I'm not sure if it's going to get scratched or not.
Yeah.
I think there's a few ex-blokes from Chelsea Heights who got an interest in it called Raponga at 16-1.
Oh, okay.
Can we get on it?
Best 22.
Best 22, right? What have we got? I don't know what the best 22 is this week, but I'll read them out and see if you can guess.
Yeah, go for it.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Okay.
So the backs: Greg Putty Putt, Steve Sconner-Jones, Jeff Scorchy Almond. Half backs: Chris Nugget. I'll kick in the balls. Halley, Gavin Hoss White, John Bunner Stewart. Centres are Rowan Pooey Neat, David Goober Cross, Ivan Strop Thornell. Half forwards: Lukey Williams, Darren Moon, Jamie Jamison. Gee whiz, eh? Forwards: Tim Flea Grant, Sean Matheson, Brad Wiggy Canavan. The ruck is Dave Pacey. Ruck rover is Damien Mearns. The rover is Joey the Rat Collegia. In the change from Jay Fisher, Matty O'Neill, Graham Knight and Heath Bennett. And we might have to finish with Dave's joke. It's not going to be Dave, it's not going to be Dinger, so it's going to be... Glenn Brereton. Is Barebum awake right now?
I'll be getting ready to paint him.
I spotted him. I was going to say, I saw him at Wernie's before. He's covered in paint. Is there any chance you get that fucking paint on the walls?
It costs himself $50 in paint.
I know, I'm telling you. He looks like a tradesman.
Are we still on?
Yeah,
How are you, mate?
For the bum's joke.
Bummer! How are you, mate?
Hello.
We've gone a bit late because we had the Fannings on, and it's actually probably early for them.
I realise that. Yeah, I've been watching, and I think you're a bit late and a bit full, actually, watching you as well. So.
Correct on both answers. Actually, Bears for sure. Well, sure, we probably should have had an alcohol ban-free night for the last half an hour. Bears,
don't swear. Don't swear. Did you say alcohol ban?
Did I say that? I must be pissed.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I'll make it quick.
If you could, we're in a bit of a rush.
Soon I've been roped in off the bench, but sort of a little bit of a follow up to Dinger's dirty Johnny joke last week.
Yep.
And so here's dirty little Johnny at school in the class, and the teacher brings in a dog. So I don't know if it's the same dog that dirty Johnny had seen last week, but anyway, the teacher says we're going to do a little bit of a class today on the structure of a dog and anatomy and stuff of the dog. So can anyone in the class here tell me how the dog's tail was joined onto its body? Anyway, dirty Johnny sticks his hand up, sitting at the back of the class, and the teacher's thinking, oh, no, not him, no. So hoping and waiting for somebody else to stick a hand up. So all of a sudden, there's another little kid, young Pete, up the front, puts his hand up, and the teacher's relieved, So she says to Pete, can you tell me how the dog's tail is joined onto its body? So young Petey says, oh, by bones, miss, by bones. Oh, very good, Pete, very good. Is there anyone else that can tell me? Dirty Johnny sticks his hand up again, and teacher's thinking, oh, no way, no. Next minute, another little one, little Sally puts her hand up, and the teacher's relieved again. Oh, I don't have to get Johnny, So, yes, Sally, can you tell me, how's the dog's tail joined onto its body? So she says, it's joined on by skin, miss, Oh, very good, Sally, very good. Is there anyone else that can tell me how the dog's tail is joined onto its body? And once again, dirty little Johnny sitting on the back, hand straight up. So she's looking around. Is there anyone else? No one else sticks their hand up. Okay, Johnny, come on. So he comes up the front, and there's the dog on the desk. And he lifts the tail up and wiggles it about a little bit and sort of looks up underneath it and spreads the back legs a bit and sticks his head in that underneath, and he's having a bit of a look, and the teacher says, well, look, Johnny, do you know how the dog's tail's joined onto its body? And he says, well, miss, by the size of them nuts, it must be fucking bolted on.
On your Bears.
On your Bears.
Okay.
Thanks,
mate.
Bears.
Speak to you soon,
guys.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks again. We're wrapping it up. BJS Insurance, Major
Thank you,
Tom,
BJS.
everyone here. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
I really
Rory.
appreciate
It's been
it.
a great show.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. We could have one at a time. We've gone all three, and we've gone a marathon.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it was always going to happen. Thanks, mate. Thanks. Wrap it up.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
See you next week.
Grow your business with social videos. It's not an option anymore. As humans, we're hardwired to absorb story. Video is where story thrives. Storytelling in video ultimately provides more opportunity for your audience to develop a strong connection to your product. Social media demands content. Let Major Tom Media create social video content for your business and watch your engagement grow. Go to majortommedia.com and become irresistible to your audience.